What's up, everybody? This is the D to the L to the N, the DL in sports, and this is CASHLINE, y'all. Uh, just wanted to hop on here real quick and quick shout out to the YouTube world, the Twitter world, the CASHLINE world, and talk a little bit of DFS strategy, how we win in the CASHLINE, and how to win at this thing called DFS. Been doing it about 3 years now. Feeling pretty successful at it and things like that, but we all know everyone loses at this thing. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for me. Ain't been on YouTube for a while. Been focusing mostly in group, doing videos in group, and we do the daily chop ups and things like that. But we're gonna get right to this. And like I said, good luck to everybody. You always got to remember other groups and other providers and things like that. They're not the enemy. The enemy is DraftKings and FanDuel. They're the ones with the money. So it amuses me sometimes when you see groups going back and forth or people going back and forth on Twitter. You got to remember the enemy is DraftKings and FanDuel. They the ones with the money. They the ones with the money. But like I said, some tips to this DFS thing. The first tip I would give to a average DFS player or somebody just getting into this would be bankroll management. That's the most important thing about this thing, man. You got to have fun. If you ain't having fun, what you doing it for? What are you doing it for? You got to have fun doing this thing. And the key to having fun is bankroll management, not being stressed out. You don't want your phone bill or your light bill or your car bill or your house payment, anything depending on if LeBron James gets you 50, 60, 70, 80 DraftKings or FanDuel points tonight. You know what I mean? You want to bankroll management. The best ratio I found is probably 90% cash games, 10% GPP. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been in this for a while now, and I'm more of a GPP player because I want it all. You know what I mean? I'm looking for the big payday. But to be honest with you, the smartest everyday grind of this thing is going to be cash games. It's the most likeliest way of cashing on more of a consistent basis and things like that. So like I say, 90% cash, 10% GPP. So if you got $100 in your account, you know what I mean, and you're betting what $10 that night or whatever you want to do, $9 in cash games and throw you one of them single entries in there. You know what I mean? Or if you got a good little amount in there, if you're betting $100 that night, you know what I mean. You want to do $90 in cash games and then throw you about $10 worth of GPPs in there and try to take something down. But that's pretty much the ratio you want as far as betting on this thing. You know what I mean? You got to remember it's betting. You got to remember it's betting. I always tell my guys in the cash line, man, this, you're going to lose at this thing sometime. You know what I mean? And you got to accept that going in. Number two is tournament selection, y'all. Tournament selection is key as far as single entry tournaments. No matter what you plan, you want it to be single entries. If it's GPP or cash. If you're getting into something with a 20 entry max, you want to put 20 entries in it. If you can't afford that, play you a couple single entries that's cheaper. But it's important to always give yourself the same odds that everybody else has. You know what I mean? If I feel like I can compete with anybody in the world, if they got one lineup and I got one lineup, I don't care what the name is, I don't care what the logo is, I feel like I can compete with anybody in the world. But if you're getting into tournaments with 150 entries or 20 entries and you throw in one entry in there, the odds of you winning that is really hard. You really got to put a good one together. So I stress the fact of tournament selection, single entries, everything. Single entries, everything, y'all. And like I said, if you're in that 20 entry max it out. If you're doing 20 $1 tickets, max it out. You know what I mean? Don't just put 5 in there. If you can put 20 in there, you want to put the whole 20 in there. So after that, we're going to go to number 3 is understanding you're going to lose at this thing. Understanding that there's going to come nights that it just ain't going to go your way. And a lot of times it's not going to have anything to do with you. It's going to be about an injury that happened, a late night scratch. We know this DFS thing, all types of things. A player getting injured in the game, coach deciding just not to play somebody, or somebody just waking up and not feeling like playing basketball or football that day, and they just have a bad game. Ain't got nothing to do with you. So you got to know this coming in that you're going to lose at this thing sometimes. Number 4, I call it is patience. It's a marathon, not a sprint. If you think you're getting ready to hop into this DFS thing with all these great minds and all this information that's going around and come in here and just pick you a couple players and take down a tournament, you sadly mistaken yourself. Like I say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's about bankroll management, man. As far as hanging around this thing long enough until your day comes, until you pop that big one, and being a profitable DFS player at the same time. At number five is going to be total lineup construction, and total roster construction, pricing, chalk, all that stuff is important. When a lot of things I learned in this, when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. You know that big smash, I call it the super chalk, that big play of the day where they say you have to play this play. This is the play of the day. Ain't nothing else better than this. That's that super chalk. You can fade that. You can fade that. If you can find a player at a similar price point that can get you at the end of the night, no matter what the matchup is, he can get you around the same amount of fantasy points as that player goes, and you catch him at 2-3% ownership, and that super chalk player is 50, 60, 70, 80% ownership. That's how you take down a tournament. That's how you take down a tournament. And late night news, man, late news, man. You got to stay with this late swap. You really got to stay in tune to news changing throughout the night. You know what I mean? Players being ruled in or ruled out throughout the night. So you got to pay attention to that, because that's very key in this thing, man. And like I say, some chalk is good chalk. Certain plays you just got to play because that's just what it is, especially in cash games. You really got to play the chalk in there, because if you miss on the chalk play in that cash game and he's 50, 60, 70% owned, your night pretty much over as far as them cash games. So in the cash games, I can see you doing that a little more, following all the chalk. But in them GPPs, man, you got to find that area. You got to find that one or two players you say, you know what, I believe in him tonight. Ain't nobody talking about him today, and take that shot. That's how you take down tournaments. You can't take down tournaments playing everybody that everybody playing. Please believe that. I listen to 7, 8, 9, 10 podcasts a day. And if you combine all them podcasts and you put all them players, it'll basically give you a player pool. And if you're trying to take something down, you got to find something outside of that. You got to go in yourself and find some research. Go into the game log yourself and find something that differentiates you from the other people. And don't be afraid to leave salary on the table. You know, a lot of times, especially earlier in my DFS career, I would if I had 800, 1,000, $1,500 left, but I loved my line, I would change it all around just to try to spend that extra money, pay up here, and things like that. And if you look at a lot of the winning tournaments, they'll have 6, 5, 800, sometime a grand left over. So if you got a lineup and you really feel confident about it, play it just the way it is. You know, don't put somebody in there just because they're more expensive when this person might be in a better matchup, a higher projected game, and things like that. And that's where you got to trust your gut. You got to trust your gut. You know what I mean? Some of the biggest wins I've had when I went against the grain and trusted my gut, and it panned out for me. Number seven, then you go into Vegas odds. The Vegas odds, that's like the Bible to this DFS thing, because Vegas don't like to lose money. So their projections are going to be as spot on as anybody's projections in the world. You know what I mean? Vegas is not about losing money. So you got to remember, you got to follow them Vegas odds. At least take a look at it. Look at the projections. Every slate is different. You know what I mean? One slate will be stars and scrubs. The next slate will be balance, and things like that. And don't be scared to go back to a player that burns you. If a player burned you, you played him for a reason that night. There's a reason you played him. You liked something. You liked the matchup. You liked this. How many times have you played, for instance, Evan Fournier, and he burns you 2, 3 times in a row? You know what I mean? How many times have you done that? And then you go back to it. And you go back to it, and he keeps burning you. I'm not saying to blow all your money. There comes a point where you got to come off of somebody and leave them alone. But how many times have you done that? Then you go back to them, and you if you lose a couple times with a player, you damn sure want to get paid when he go off. I don't want to play Evan Fournier 3 times when he throw duds, and then come off of him, and then 2 nights later he drop a 55. You know what I mean? So don't be scared to go back to players like that. Do your due diligence. Do your own research. Sometimes I don't even listen to a podcast. Sometimes I just go in myself, go into the game logs, and try to see what I like and who I feel I like, and things like that. Do your own due diligence. And like I say, trust your gut, man. Trust your gut on this thing. And then after that, we got to go back to this. Remember, have fun. When you first started DFS, this was fun. If you putting lineups in, and as you putting the lineup in, you're like, oh man, I don't feel good about this, or this and that, this and that. You already defeated. You're already defeated. Go in being positive. Believe in yourself. If don't nobody believe in you, but you believe in yourself. You know what I mean? That's how you take something down, man. Some of the biggest tournaments I done took down has been totally going on my own and not listening to what somebody else says. Now you got to generally get your information and use that information to your advantage, because the information is real. You know what I mean? There's a lot of information out there, so you can be right where you need to be, but you got to find that one player too that you say, I'm gonna go different there. I'm gonna be different there because this player did this last year in this site game against that matchup. The BVP is good, or this, and that, and you play that shit, and that's how you take down a tournament. And last but not least, you can join the cash line. You know what I mean? Because we always willing to help. I'm on Twitter at Dan_DLN Sports, on Facebook DLN Sports, the cash line. Like I said, go check the Twitter page out at Dan_DLN Sports. You know what I mean? And you'll see. I don't want you to believe me. Go check it out for yourself. But like I say, man, I come on here to wish everybody good luck. All the providers, everybody in DFS, man, I root for people. I want people to win. I love going through Twitter and seeing people bang a tournament. You know what I mean? That gets my juices flowing. It makes me hungry. It gets me more motivated. You know what I mean? So remember that. And like I said, man, good luck to everybody. I hope this video helps somebody. You can all contact me anytime you like. I'm available 24/7. And CASHLINE, baby. Let's get this money.